Hi friends, this is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week we will bring you new episodes sharing our opinions on a ton of different topics in hopes we can get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our opinions and experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals, no one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy, and I'm the host of the show. And today, you guys, we're on episode 140, Missing Canadians. Now, guys, we're wrapping up the month of talking about the sex industry and all the wild statistics that came out of there, including the money that's being spent, the people that are being abused, all those kind of things. And we're kind of at that mid-month, or not the mid-month, we're at that point where we're about to go into a new month and finish up season 5 while we're also wrapping up this last month. So we thought that bringing an episode about missing Canadians would be super important because although not all obviously missing Canadians or missing people have to do with trafficking and all those kind of industries, they do play a big part hand in hand, especially when you start diving into stuff. You have to really start wondering the bigger connections here, even though we maybe don't want to because the stuff is super dark. It's not fun. I know that. Again, we said we promise we'll bring lighter in season 6 because there are people that do get saved and there are Canadians that are found and reunited with their family. But I think a lot of us live in this kind of world as us Canadians do, where we just live in our igloos and we kind of forget and think that this stuff does not happen to people beside us or around us, when in fact that is not true. We have lots of facts, just like you heard in the last episode and that you'll hear in this episode here. And it does happen close to home. You guys, in my hometown specifically, and we'll get more into this, there is still a missing woman that I actually went to high school with, and she has not been found, and it's coming up a year. So we'll get into that more, but I just want everyone to kind of take away and also put a trigger warning here that we will be talking about missing individuals in British Columbia and in Alberta, and we'll be talking about the missing and murdered Indigenous women as well. So if that, again, on a very light summary type topic, guys, these subjects have been researched and shows have come out on all of them, and we want to leave that to the experts, but we also want to bring this up because we feel like it is always buried and never talked about, and there's just other stupid stuff that is being focused on in the world, especially in Canada, when there is stuff right in our homes, right in our backyard, with people that we care about that are still missing, and there's tons out there. So the only way we know how to really start to even help is by talking about it and bringing it to light. So before we get on to that, just want to remind you, if you are on YouTube or Rumble, if you can remember to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications, comment for engagement. Y'all, we're always blocked, so any engagement helps. Any like, any comment, any follow, any notification turn on. That helps us immensely get out of some of these holes that we've wiggled ourselves in by our content. If you are listening on the audio like Spotify or Apple, you can also turn on notifications there, and Apple, you can actually even leave us a review if you're feeling up to it. And if you are on social media, like most of you are, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, the Be Real Babe podcast. We are so happy there to bring you more information, chat with you. And as always, guys, as we are wrapping up season 5, we don't have any episodes left in this season, but if you are wanting to jump into season 6, we are just starting that right now. So make sure you shoot us a DM on social media and let us know if you would like to be on the show. But I will shut up and we will get into this really intense and sad, and I'm sorry, dark episode, but we need to go through it, guys. We need to shine the light. We need to be there for the people that are missing, because if we can't even talk about it, how the fuck are we even going to help them? You know what I'm saying? So again, trigger warning to those that may not want to hear about any missing people. Please just end this episode. We have another one coming out in a couple days. Maybe leave this on pause. But if you are looking to learn a little bit more about some things in our backyard, in our hometowns, let's get on to the show. All right, babes, it's time to get on the show. And with me in studio today is my beautiful co-host, Hales.
Hey, good. How are you?
I mean, after like 150 times of doing this, you'd think I would not be such an awkward taco, but here we are.
Oh, dude, every time it's like, okay. And by the end,
You can
I'm
breathe.
still like, yeah, it
Yeah,
is, it
it's
never gets old of
the first minute.
it's just weird. Yeah. It's
It's
not
just
for
always weird. It's
transition.
never gonna not be
My
weird.
opening is
Also,
always
guys,
weird. It's always this
yeah,
or, like, hey,
yeah.
hi, like,
Hi,
who knows?
hi. I
The,
forget how to
the,
talk, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden,
the
as we get in,
opener
I'm
is
like, oh right, my
super,
mouth, it works.
yeah, my mouth.
And also, it's probably easy to see. I'm super burnt. If you were on the show,
I
like
can't
I'm
tell.
super
Oh, you can
burnt.
see it on your shoulder a
Oh,
little
do you
bit,
see
but I
that on the
can't tell
shoulder
on your
there?
face right at all.
Oh,
It's your
it's
lighting.
more like this light that's like killing me. I can feel the heat on my burn. I'm like, this is gonna be a fun hour. But I don't
That's
know.
funny.
Was it windy as fuck for you guys for Canada Day? Like, I got a
Uh,
wind burn, man.
we got tons of wind. We've had on and
Yeah,
off thunderstorms where we were too, so it's
yeah,
been hit or miss. It is now beautiful out, and it's going to be pretty good for the next few days. On and off here and
good.
there, some sprinkles, but it was dicey. We were at the cabin and saw some pretty gnarly lightning and some pretty loud thunder from the beach. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, it was. We got
It's
interesting.
nuts.
We did get wind though. It was enough wind,
Yeah.
but you guys are
Oh my
definitely
gosh.
bathing in sun. It looks so
We are bathing in
nice.
sun, thank you. But Canada Day was so windy that I've never
Yeah.
experienced wind like that in Kelowna. And it was like 27, 30 degrees. And then it was coming down. And because that wind is so nice, you don't notice it. And this one
That's the
side was just
dangerous. I was going to say that's the
so
dangerous weather is when
dangerous.
you get that really good wind that takes all that
Yes.
heat off so you can't feel
Yes.
when you're overheating.
Yeah, and
That's
it
where
was
it gets
very,
ya.
very strong, and all that. Like people, as soon as they moved, like sand was in your face. There was like sand everywhere, and then all of a sudden,
It's nothing
Knox Mountain
worse.
starts going on fire. We're like, oh great, Canada Day weekend, and now we're on fire in Kelowna. That makes sense. But they hats off
Of
to the
course.
firefighters, man. They fucking took
Yes.
care of that within a couple hours. They saved
Good for
people's
them.
houses. Like it was nuts. People were evacuated. Like
We had
I was like, could you
tornadoes.
imagine? Yes, you guys had fucking
You guys had
tornadoes. That's so
fires,
crazy.
which is like I'm glad they handled it and they that
They
the
did.
pictures I saw were pretty gnarly. Like that
They
was
were. They
yeah,
handled their
hats
business
off.
there.
But yeah,
Yep,
the
hats off,
tornadoes,
guys.
like my god.
Fuck too.
The one
Like, what's
was
going on?
huge. The one was massive. I like that was like Twister the movie worthy
Yes,
tornado. That thing was
yes,
huge.
yes. And it did quite a bit of
Stressed me
devastation,
out.
didn't it, too?
That is my number one most irrationally like outrageously huge fear. It
That's
truly
fair.
is. I do not like tornado. They're just
It's
Mother
so
Nature's so
irrational.
you can't do nothing about it. She's so
No.
unpredictable. It scares the
But then
shit
it
out of me.
makes that makes me even more mad that if it does come out that, and we know about some weather mods, but if we do find out
Right?
that all the weather, I'm gonna be fucking even more mad with all the shit that they make people go through. You know what I mean? Like, really, you guys? Like, couldn't we just have a Canada Day? Like, leave the fucking firefighters
We've
rest. God
Canada's been
damn.
quite tumultuous lately with its weather,
Hmm.
like just kind of all over with either
Weird.
overheating or like too much rain, not enough rain, like yeah,
Yes.
wind like you wouldn't
Wind out of
believe,
nowhere.
rain,
Yeah, it's
like
fucked.
it's been all over the map for
Yes.
a little
Very
bit.
big
We
mixed
started
bag.
out really
Yeah.
nice and then it went like
Yes. Just
woo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
kidding.
And now it's
Just
oh,
kidding. Go
oh,
fuck
here we go.
yourself.
Yeah. It's been a
Oh,
little
summer.
weird.
I agree. And now we're so blessed. Like this whole week is supposed to be like 30 degrees. I'm
I know
very,
it's
very,
getting
very
better.
excited about that.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm like, it's
Knock
summer.
on
I'm
wood.
like, okay, breathe. Knock on wood. I mean, I don't mind the storms once in a while, but it was getting like a little silly
I
there.
love
It kind of makes me
thunderstorms.
depressed.
They
Yeah.
used to stress me out, and I used to not like them very much. But the older I've gotten,
Yes. You
obviously you grow out of
appreciate
stuff
them.
like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
some of the lightning shows and just the energy. It's
And
nice. I like it.
it's so cool in Alberta. I will say that's one thing I miss is the skies and like the
Mm.
sunsets and the sunrises in Alberta and the storms because they come in so fast and they leave so fast. It's
Some of
really
the
cool to
cloud
watch.
formations and cloud like
Yeah.
texture,
Hmm.
almost like yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. That was watching it on the
We've
beach was
seen some weird
cool.
ones.
We were in this
Yeah,
patch of
watching it
sun
roll
and
in.
it's just this big navy blue gray like thing coming at us and like some of the clouds were like swishy, some of them were like bubbly. It was just like what
Yeah.
is going on? Lightning.
Is
Yeah,
that
it was
made?
insane.
Yeah, like it's got to be made. It's got to be man made. Just
It
kidding.
was
Maybe
it
not.
was
But the
huge.
weather's
It
been
was
weird. It has
huge.
been weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So anyways, sidebar, but I hope you guys are enjoying the beginning of your summer. I think we are here in BC starting to
Yes.
and
Same as
Alberta
Alberta.
as well. So get out, guys. I'm not going to say wear your sunscreen because we know how much of a conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist I am. And I will say
Unless you
though
make
that
your own,
everybody, yes, that's my next step. I was like, I'm not going to,
I'll
and like
send you
obviously
some.
this hurt. Thank you. But I feel like even if and a lot and like maybe it didn't happen, but anybody that did wear sunscreen still gets burnt. So I'm just kind of like
Absolutely.
it comes down to respecting the sun. I definitely didn't on Canada Day. It was 3 hours. We have spent 3 hours in direct sun many times, and I've never been like this. But that wind was just gnarly in a whole other level. So
Didn't do you any
yeah,
favors.
did not do you any favors. But anyways, guys, like just to me, just respect the sun. But this episode, again, just like in every topic that we get into, it's so much heavier and bigger than we imagine. And I don't ever feel like sometimes that we can ever do in one episode any justice to this. And we jump into these topics and start researching. And then it's just like, how do we even cover this in 40
Yeah,
minutes to an hour?
it's
Right.
hard.
So it's very hard. So we're going to take a couple stories. Like I said, it's about missing people in Canada. We're going to take a couple stories, some that are very near and dear to us, and just kind of go over them a little bit because I think awareness and continue talking about it is number one. And just know that like if any of the people we're mentioning, if it's too hard for you to watch, I understand if you guys don't want to listen to it. These are notes that we're taking again on a high level.
Hmm.
um, for the one that I would particularly want to talk about, there is a whole series. There's about 5 or 6 episode. So I think when I was listening to it, I was like, there is no way that I'm ever going to come close to doing the amount of research and portray this as
It's
well as she did.
yeah,
It was amazingly done. So I want to direct everyone to that podcast when I speak about mine. I guess I could do mine first.
yeah.
Um, but then in the same sense, just give like high level information just to make sure this is still on people's radar because okay, what today is the 3rd that we're recording this. When this episode gets launched, that'll be in 5 days. It'll actually be about the exact year to when she's gone missing, and she's still missing the case that I want to speak about. And then Haley will share a few in her area, and then Danielle has saved some notes for us. And this is bouncing off of Kayla's last episode that you guys would have seen earlier in the week. So again, once I started reading into this, and parts of this is really upsetting for me personally because I grew up knowing Amber, not until my later years, but this is someone that's very close to also people that I know, and the fact that this happened in my hometown is just really fucks me up. So unlike I knew about it, obviously shared everything, but now getting into the details of some of these things, it's really hard and it's a lot darker. So I want everyone to anyways I might as well just carry on for there. So
Yep.
I'm speaking for those that don't know. I'm from Port Alberni, Vancouver Island in British Columbia on the coast of Canada on the west coast. And we're going to be talking about Amber Manthorne today. So if that is too hard for you to listen to, if you're from Port and the wounds are still very fresh for everyone, like I said, it's just coming up to a year. I understand not listening, but just know that we're going to try and share this, and we're not going to be able to do as much justice as they did. So guys, if you want to hear a deep dive, there's like 5, 6 episodes. So it goes into her ex, like everything about the situation and very deep level on a podcast called Island Crime. It's season 4 and it starts episode 1. And it's called Finding Amber. And it's incredible. I've only made it through half because trying to do so much research at once, and it's a
Hmm.
lot. She did a phenomenal job on that. So did you end up listening to it at all? Because I think we just kind of became friends maybe around that time. I can't remember.
It was just that time. Like I remember we had been friends for maybe, quite honestly, like maybe 8 weeks. It wasn't
Right.
very
Okay.
long.
It was
Like
very
it
fresh.
was very fresh, and I remember
Yeah.
you talking about it, and I remember kind of getting some of the details from you and like your opinion on some things, and yeah, it was. I haven't listened. Send me the link to the
Yes, I will for
episodes
sure.
though for sure, because
Yes.
I would love
Yeah.
to. Because yeah, it
Yeah. They did
sounded
such
kind
a good
of
job.
it like from what I got from you, it sounded very interesting and
Yes,
like
very sus. A lot of stuff is very sus
yeah,
and things are still left very unknown. And,
which
again, I'm just
sucks. I'm
speaking.
such
Yeah,
a
I'm not.
curious person, and I absolutely like.
Yes.
I hate that. I hate unsolved. Unsolved drives me nuts.
And I think that's why this one was almost the hardest. And I think, again,
Yeah.
we go back to that Candace Owens things of being like, if you can't even read about it and share about it, how do you
Hmm.
face the shitty? And I don't know anything, guys. I am not close to anybody that is a part of her life anymore. When I knew Amber, I was 19 years old. I was a really not in a great place in my life. She was so kind, so loving. She's that typical little spunky blonde blue-eyed girl that just lights up an entire fucking room. And I just remember being like at the beginning part of my party phase and being that stupid like young free spirit, and she was just always so like accepting and just so much love in her heart. So I think that's why it really rocked everyone, because it's very out of character. Like Amber wouldn't have just got up and run away. Maybe she would. I
Yeah.
don't know her, but like from what I hear, from what I'm listening to the people that I know her, she's not the type that would just get up and leave her life because she loved her life there. Like, people that live
That's a
and
big
love.
decision.
It is a big decision, and people that love,
Yeah.
and again, if she is, then I'll take it back from what I imagine. I think I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I don't think that this was on her own will, right? I think she loved her life there, and people that love Port Alberni and want to stay there and love small towns, like
Yeah.
Port Alberni's it for you. Like we've talked about in past episodes, like Port's a little gem, and we all grew up together in a very small community. It's a great place to raise kids, although she didn't have them. She was an auntie to all of her friends, especially in that small community. Like even
Hmm.
with you, Hales, like in your area, you have your friends that are your kids'
Yeah.
aunties, right? And
Oh,
that
all of
aren't.
them.
And Port is very right as port, especially in small communities, whether that's the city or just the area that you're living
Hmm.
in. I feel like that part of community, that's your family that you build up, right? And so for for us to all know, like Amber was that person to a ton of people. She lived out at a place. I had notes, so I'm just going to go off from
Yeah,
what
of
I know.
course.
But she lived at the Ark Resort for roughly 10 years. She's known by locals everywhere, and everyone loved her, like I said. So the Ark Resort is on Great Central Lake. Port Alberni has two main lakes that everyone goes to. Sprout Lake with the water bombers. Most people go to that. That's the more public one with beaches. But then there's also Great Central Lake, which is actually one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Hmm.
It's got cabin houses, like log houses on it. Cabin, what am I calling them? Like on the float decks. English
Yeah.
is not my character today. And you have to kind of go everywhere by boat. There's not little beaches that you can go up in. There was like
Houseboats and whatnot.
campgrounds. Yeah, and there's cabins, and she lived in one of them, and she absolutely loved it. Like, and very serene, very lake, very Port Alberni, very free spirit, happy person. And it's just
Very Canadian,
like a fairy.
to
Yeah,
be
very
fair.
Canadian. Like this
Like,
little fairy. Like, yeah, exactly. Just yeah, very Canadian. And like I said, everyone knew her. So at the time, Amber was 40 years old. She would have just had, or is if she's still out there, 41 years old. Again, she's from Port Alberni. Like I said, she's 5 foot, 5 foot tall, maybe 120 pounds, just a little thing, long, beautiful blonde hair. Like always most beautiful blonde hair, bright, bright eyes, like the brightest eyes. I'll share pictures on here, guys, in the video. Again, a capturing smile and energy that you're just like, this girl can do no harm.
mhm.
Like literally cannot. I'm getting goosebumps. It's just again, I knew her when I was at a very young, silly party age, and even then, like I imagine she only grew into a bigger gem with a bigger heart. And one other thing that I really loved that she was doing is there's a local photographer, Danielle. I grew up with her in high school. She's actually been on the show before, and she's a local photographer, amazing photographer, especially her boudoir. Like, girl has found her niche. And what was really cool is that Amber was providing outfits and costumes for her. So they were kind of building this, like, Danielle would take the pictures and have the location,
Mhm.
and Amber was helping with the costumes and like all those kind of things, and being a
Yeah.
photographer and having that artistic friendship, like, and finding that artistic groove. Like, I struggle to see someone wanting to just leave that, just
To
especially at
just
the
drop
beginning of the art.
everything.
Yes, because it was really cool. I just remember sitting back and being so proud of them, being like, "Holy fuck, this is so cool
Yeah.
watching these girls do this,"
It's
because
just
it's
very out of
everything
place.
very out of place for her to just leave something like that, right? So she was working at a place called Alberta Marine. And so she went missing on July 8th. Like I said, it's coming up to a year for when
Mhm.
this will launch. On July 7th was the last day at Alberta Power Marine. So she didn't show up the next day. And that flagged a lot of people immediately. She's a very
Yeah.
responsible person, really like loved her working. Like I said, she's just a good person. It's not a person that's just going to flake at work. So that very much triggered a lot of people to go, what the fuck is going on? And no one heard her since 10 p.m. the night before. So like I said, she's a built-in auntie for a lot of friends' kids. So,
It's like
a
everyone's
lot of
nightmare, to be completely
it is,
totally
it
true.
is,
Like,
hmm
holy.
and that's what sitting, especially sitting from afar over here. I was like, I cannot, like, it just did not feel real, and like I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Like, outside of being able to like quit my job to go and search, like all I kept doing is sharing stuff and trying to like,
So
we didn't really.
stressful.
It is. And we didn't bring it on the podcast because I just don't even know how I begin to even understand this and understand how I can help. And, I think that you always have that guilt. Like, you can never do enough. Like,
Well, it's always
not,
the unknown and the, like, unsolved, right?
yes, yes. It doesn't help people really
I'm very
fully. Like,
familiar with
and
that. Like,
yeah, and I'm
it's
further,
just things you'll never know. Like,
no,
there's no way of you getting answers to, so they were just like, they will always remain unsolved and
yes.
unanswered, right?
Yes, and that's why absolutely, like,
Yeah.
so they right after she went missing, so the next day, the same day that she kind of on the 8th when she was kind of reporting being missing, and there was questions of where she was.
Hmm.
Her car was found with allegedly luggage and
I
windows
remember that.
down,
Yeah.
tucked away at Cassidy near the airport in Nanaimo. So that day as well, I guess Amber's landlady checked and her front door was unlocked, I believe is what it was said, and her back door was open. There it definitely sounded like there might have been looked like there was a struggle. I'm not entirely sure. I'm paraphrasing stuff. I didn't quite put everything down again, guys, because the
Yeah.
podcast, I don't want to take away from it. She did an amazing research. I believe her name was Laura, and I think that everyone should go listen to how she tells the story with the representatives of this
Absolutely.
case. But I just, while we were talking about this, I had
Quick
people reach
summary.
out. Yeah, and I had people actually reach out to me saying, "Please talk about trafficking," which is why we brought it to the podcast.
Yeah.
And they also asked if I could speak on Amber and just bring that back to light as well. Not necessarily trying to connect the two. Just again, we talk about missing people and how a lot of,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying those things, and I don't want anybody to think that. I'm just thinking when there's unsolved things, you definitely have to check all aspects, right? And so that's why I think it's super important that
It's
everyone's
good to always
aware.
have fresh eyes on it, so it's good to bring up
Exactly.
like every now and then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're a podcast that's listened throughout Canada, throughout the United States, or across the world. We are in countries
Yeah.
I didn't even know existed, not to be rude, but it's amazing. Like
That
I'm blown away.
1%
So
of countries that we get for views is pretty
yeah,
like
it's pretty neat.
interesting and
So
far reach. It's
exactly. And
crazy.
so,
If
yeah,
it's
so if we can
true, I
just,
swear to
if
God,
it's
if
true,
that's
yeah,
yeah,
maybe Spotify's just lying to like
it's the
fake hype us
coolest
up,
thing. But yeah,
it's just actually lying. But I think, in my mind, it was just, I've gone back and forth all day because I was like, again, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to even, again, say the story like Laura did on her
yeah,
show for sure. I don't want to paraphrase or take anything away from the hard research that she did. I want all the views to go to her show for Amber, but I want to
this
bring
is
up that it's
quick
been a year.
summary. Yeah,
It's a quick summary. It's been a year, guys, and she's still not home. And there's still people, like there's kids with
there's
aunties
no
like that are looking
answers.
for. There's
Yeah,
no answers. Parents, family, friends. If anybody ever, I'll read the article here quickly too. There was another weird thing that about the situation, and again, I'm leaving all speculation off the table. Believe what you want. You guys go research what you want. I don't. Again, Laura did a deep dive on this fellow, but at the time she was thought to be with her boyfriend Justin Hall, but then he surfaced days later after he was nowhere to be found. And some of the things that he said and did after that is very interesting to me. Um,
yeah,
Again, go listen to, there was a whole episode on him. I'll leave that to the experts here and the
hmm,
journalists to report on, but allegedly he was saying he was worried about the people she was with, but nobody seems to understand this. Like no one understands, like friends and family
what
don't really
people?
know he would be referring to, like because she wasn't someone that was like actively involved with bad
Yeah,
people that anybody
he
knew. But
was
again,
just
people could have secret
keeping
lives
it
too, so
vague type
but
thing.
kept
Like
it, yeah, like what do you
the people,
know, dude?
like
Like what are you saying?
who is she
When
with? Like
who, right? So I guess he also claimed that they got claimed around the 12th that they had gotten into a fight and he packed and took off. I don't know why I said the 12th. That might be wrong. But he got in a fight, he panicked and took off. But apparently he didn't have a vehicle. So like where did you go? What did you panic about? Like the things that he was saying, like she was alive when I left. Like
why
I'm
would you
just
say that?
curious, why would you say that? Like maybe you're in a really bad state and maybe you're in this fight or flight mode, but when people all around are looking for her and you're found and there's no really answers and there's still not
You
answers,
got to be pretty
speculation is
clear
going
with
to
what you're
happen.
yeah with what you're saying
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
all
And I'm not
eyes are
saying
on you. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying that like it's weird when there's smoke there's usually fire. So if there's no fire, where's the again, the thing
yeah.
is she could have left at her own free will, right?
Why
I
was
don't
he
believe
so
that she didn't.
stressed
That's
out?
but
Answer
why did he disappear for a few days, right? That's
answer
weird
yeah,
to me.
why was he answering like he was stressed out? And yeah, like
Yeah.
you got to be pretty clear, and if there's something you're hiding,
Yes.
like you're just I feel like you
It's
make
not
it kind
making
of
it look
obvious
better.
a lot of time. Yeah, a lot of times.
Exactly. So what was really beautiful about this whole thing and continues is the Amber's Army that's out there. There's a Facebook page that is huge. I think there's
Cute.
over 12,000 people in this
Good.
group. There's people all over the island, all over Canada that are always continually talking about her. Like I said, she just would have celebrated her 41st birthday. I'm not quite sure what day it was. I imagine just a couple of months ago, I think I seen posts and yeah, so that I think is what was so beautiful is that how many people came out, and this always
Good.
happens, and especially in the small communities, they come together. And you guys, it was fucking scorching heats last year, like 40, 50 degrees, and
And people
these
still showed up.
individuals, And they showed up by the droves looking and searching and doing anything they could and
Yeah.
reporting back. There is a huge crew that took this on and
Good
took
for
all
them.
the weight of it. And it blows my mind sometimes how cruel the world can be. But then on the flip side, it almost shows you triple the amount of compassion in those moments.
It
And
gives
it's
you the
just,
opportunity to see the best side of people,
it does.
right?
And the worst time of things, right? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that's like, but like, it just, that was the one thing is the massive movement that came to, and like anybody that I knew that from port were asking me about that, and like
I
it
feel like
was,
when you see people's true yeah, true sides when it comes down to serious stuff like that, what like how they
yes,
handle it and how they react type thing is definitely like a
exactly.
judge of character for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and Port is definitely like a huge tight knit family. So I just
Hmm.
wanted to read a little article that they did post in CTV News. Just just to getting the news article, guys. Like I said, it's just a tiny one that came out at the time, but it was nice that they immediately started like this was when it happened. They did like the news did pick it up. They were sharing it. The amount of
It was
posters
out there.
that's still, yeah, it was out there. The amount of posters and things that's got shared that's still getting shared to this day. I think that's how we
Good.
keep searching, right? Like until there's an answer, I don't think we should ever stop. But this is just a little
Yeah.
article that came out. So friends and family of missing Port Alberni women are renewing their pleas for information on what happened to her. Those dedicated to locating her have distributed posters, hung banners in Nanaimo and Port Alberni asking for help in locating Amber Manthorne. There are people that still have information they haven't shared, said Christy St. Clair, a friend of Manthorne. So Christy is one of the biggest ones that's on this podcast as well, and she shares a lot of stuff. She's very, very strong, amazing woman. I just wish I could hug her. We're hoping that this reminds them that it's been long, that this that it's been this long, and it's incredibly painful and devastating and a huge loss for her friends and family.
Mm.
At the time of her disappearance, Manthorne was 40 years old. She was last seen on July 7th when she reportedly told friends she was planning to meet an ex-boyfriend. 2 days later, her Jeep was found abandoned in Cassidy, BC, just south of Nanaimo. RCMP are investigating her disappearance, which sparked numerous searches, including a massive one involving roughly 100 volunteers.
Jesus.
St. Clair says the holiday season was difficult for Manthorne's family without her present. Absolutely.
I'm
Following tactics used,
yeah.
right? Like following tactics used by the other families of lost ones, of lost loved ones, St. Clair said the refreshing of posters and hanging banners will hopefully keep people thinking about looking. And this is why I wanted to talk about it, even if it's hard, even if I don't feel like
Yeah.
I'm covering it right. I just want this to be on our show until she is found. I want this to
Keep
be out there
spreading
that
it.
she's not.
Yeah.
Keep spreading it. Keep looking for her. Again, you guys, I'm going to work some magic and learn how to edit. And I'm going to have her picture up here the whole time with her vehicle and some of the things that I collected, hopefully somewhere over here. That's how YouTubers do it. It's kind of that double-edged sword feeling sad. It's
Yeah.
been this long that they're putting these banners up. It's also encouraging for us because it's helping to remind everyone when it feels like things have gone cold. Manthorne's disappearance was made into a 3-part podcast in August by Port Alberni journalist Laura Palmer, who produces Island Crime podcast. Anybody with information on Amber Manthorne's case is requested to call the RCMP. So yeah, let's look up RCMP Port Alberni. So I'm going to also put that phone number out here. So guys, if you have any information, if this girl looks familiar to you, the Port Alberni detachment for the RCMP is 250-723-2424. They're
Mhm.
on 444 Morton Street in Port Alberni, BC. And you guys, if you see her, you've seen anything about that, it doesn't matter how long. I don't think at this point, like, I think people just need to still keep looking for her, still keep her eyes out,
Yeah.
and
Keep your eyes
I mean, and
peeled.
there's parts to me that are like, hey, did something happen where she took off to like maybe protect herself or something? I'm not entirely sure. Like, I have absolutely no idea,
How
you guys.
far do
All I
you
know,
go though?
how far do you go? And like, I just don't think so. I think she was very happy, and I think something's weird and something's not right, and somebody knows
If
something
anyone
that they're
has
not
any
sharing.
information, yeah.
Please come forward. It's been a year now, like if you know something and people are going to find out eventually for the most part, like it does come out.
Hmm.
So my suggestion is take the heat on whatever it is that you've been holding back now, because the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be.
Hmm.
So if you know something, if you've seen something, if you've
Yeah.
heard something, please reach out. Also, again, you guys, I want to shout out to Laura, the journalist in Port Alberni, for Island Crime season 4. Well, all of it. I haven't listened. This is all about Island Crime, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get into this. This is,
Yeah.
I wanna read more about this, but it maybe not, because it hurts when it hits home in this sense, and
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't want to go too much about it. I don't want to be a fucking bawling baby on here, but yeah, guys, it's just like I said, we'll have a picture up here. Um, just please call the Port Alberta Police, even if it's an anonymous tip, something to
Yeah,
lead this
anything.
army in the right direction, anything to try and bring her home, because yeah, there's a lot of people that miss her, obviously. So yeah, Amber Manthorne, that pretty blonde girl right there. And Amber, if you're listening, I hope you're safe. I'm sure you're not listening, but anybody that's listening too, I'm sorry. I don't know that I ever be able to capture this properly. I've never been through something like
You
this
did good.
personally, and it's not even personally, but I just want people to know that she's still missing. And it's still been a year, because I know a lot of friends of mine that were around when I was kind of talking about this and being like, how
Yeah,
this, because we all think again that it is just in movies, and then it's just people that happens into the
yeah, it's
States, and it's
not.
just people that are in bad lifestyles, and that people that made wrong choices and did stupid
Yeah,
things. No, it absolutely is not. There is no criteria for missing
and it
people
doesn't
for
happen all the
any of
time, but
those
it
things.
happens.
No, exactly. And there's always going to be that one off, that
Hmm.
one person that got caught up in the wrong spot or the wrong place at the wrong time. Or sometimes people are targeted, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know with this one. I just know that she's not home. And a lot of people, and myself included, are very sad and would really like to know. And I would love to see that happiness for her family, or at least fucking closure. So if you know
yeah.
something, say it.
Speak up.
I left. Speak up. Or if I find out, just kidding. I'm not going to go to prison. I'm not. I don't need to
I
do
will
that. But
fight
anyways,
you.
yes, and that again, guys, this is one case out of hundreds. Like you've heard with
Oh
Kayla on our
God.
last episode. Like there's so many. This again does. We're not trying to fear you. We're trying to say like. Again, you can be diligent. It's not putting blame on any of these victims that
Yeah.
go missing by any means.
It's
But what we're
just
saying is sometimes there are some things, precautions, like awareness of that they're
environment
not the
awareness,
greatest.
situational
Yeah.
awareness, just
Yes.
awareness in general.
Yes, the
Yeah.
best that you can, because there are situations that you can't, right? So
Yeah.
why not be prepared in the ways that you can? But Hales, what about some of the people that are currently missing in Alberta?
So I looked through Alberta, specifically in Edmonton. Apparently, the Edmonton police say that they get like over like up to 15 and over 1,500 a year of missing people, and they obviously can't respond to all of them. And it's like, well, like I get that, but at the same time, how is there 1,500 people a year going missing?
In
That's a
that area
lot. In
alone,
Edmonton alone. That's not Alberta.
like
That's just
that's
Edmonton
just
alone.
Edmonton. Like how? Where did they go? Where are
It's
they
just
going?
it really like and like the numbers that kept coming up were always like really like just all throughout Alberta it was like 20,000, 15,000, 17,000. Like
That's the fuck up too,
Canada is
man.
crazy. The whole you don't realize how close it is until you start looking into it, and it is just
Mhm.
like really really close to home. So
Because you think, or even here, we're like, oh, it's Ontario. No, it's
yeah,
here too.
I'm fortunate to not be, I don't know, personally involved in any kind of missing persons case, thank God. Not that I haven't had some shitty things to deal with, but I went and found this website is called the Missing Children's Society of Canada. And I'm going to read off here the oldest case they have and the youngest. In Alberta, it says there are currently 24 cases in this region. So they have 24 of themselves. There's a few other agencies and like organizations and associations and whatever for
Yep.
missing people in Canada throughout, but I don't know what their criteria or what their basis is for taking cases, but the oldest one they
Yes.
have in here is August 2nd, 1991. Her name was Jennifer Ann Reagan. She was 16. And I'm going through these a
Oh.
lot, and the theme is it's a pretty decent, I would say like three quarters girls, one quarter
Yep.
boys split.
Yep.
And the age range is quite literally very consistent in the like 12 to like 17 is max and minimum, but like 13 to 16 is pretty, like it's crazy.
Standard.
That age
That
range,
is crazy.
I don't know if it's the runaways, probably a decent mix, but also
Okay.
like it is just it ties like that is the perfect trafficking age. Like it is
It
the
is. That's
theme
exactly what
throughout
I
this
was
whole
just
thing.
thinking.
We've said it
Unfortunately.
throughout some of the other episodes, like that is the age range.
Yeah.
So she was
Yes.
16. It was in Calgary, Alberta. It says this is a historical case from the Calgary Police Service that remains open. On August 2nd, 1991, Jennifer was seen for the last time in Calgary, Alberta. She was 16 when she disappeared. She had blue eyes. Her teeth had some yellow discoloration. She was When she disappeared, her hair was blonde and she was 5'9", 130 pounds. According to medical records, Jennifer had fractured or broken bones in her left chest and collarbone. So, weird description about fractures. I don't know how you're supposed to see that, but it's just like reading through some of these, it's just so sad. Like, it's just like,
Yes. Who
I
who
don't know,
who
like, you
who
think
weren't
about
there?
it.
Not there, but like, so sad.
Well, when you think of like here in, do you guys don't get any? What do you guys get that would be the equivalent of like K days? Like K days used to stress me out when we were
What is
younger
that?
because it's a huge like fair, right? Like there's
Okay.
rides, there's
Okay. Yeah,
games.
we have the
It's like a
fall fair
huge,
kind of.
yeah, the huge
Yeah.
ordeal. And
Okay.
it used to always stress me out because it always just it's so busy and it just to me
Mhm.
felt
Unsafe.
yeah, kind of in a sense, but like I didn't know why. I just always knew that like I never went with friends when I was young, like by ourselves. I always wanted to like go with like a parent. I don't know why. It was just like
That's
in me
fair.
that I didn't I like it was just such a weird thing. And I remember feeling it when I was younger, like uncomfortable when I got asked to go like with friends and stuff and I'd sometimes make up excuses and like I don't know. It just always made me very uncomfortable. But
Yeah. No. You knew
like
intuitively that there's bad people there amongst the
well
crowd.
the amount of people that probably go missing at that and
Mm-hmm.
like events like that throughout our
100%.
country. So the most recent one was a 15-year-old girl from Sylvan Lake, but apparently as of like I just checked this a few hours ago, so this was just added. Anastasia Musa, 17, from Calgary, Alberta. She went missing July 1st.
Oh.
So they're trying to find her. She went missing from her residence in a community of Queensland on Saturday. She was last seen by her house and has uncharacteristically not been in contact with her family since. So, like, going through this, so there's a 17-year-old girl, a 15-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl, a 15-year-old girl, a 14-year-old boy, 17-year-old girl, 16-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old boy, 16-year-old girl, 7 like it's just
I'm not saying that's what they're being dealt for, but like if and
some of these
trafficking
kids
doesn't
too
necessarily
are
mean
cute as
just
hell
sexual
and
too,
that's all
right?
like I hate to say that it's just based on like their looks and stuff and it's not but like when you see like cute little girls and like cute little boys
Mm-hmm.
missing like in my
Mm-hmm.
mind it's just all it jumps to but I feel like that's because I've been kind of putting myself in those holes
Yeah, that's
at
fair. I mean,
those
sometimes it's
like
like, how do you not like? And I don't necessarily think that all of
yeah
that is always tied, but you have to wonder when we start looking at the numbers,
yeah
and then you're like, okay, well, where are these kids being trafficked, whether that's sexually or whether
or
that's
where are they
through
going
work,
like
or where are they
period
going?
where the
What's
hell
going
are they
on? Where are
yeah
they going? Why aren't we paying more attention to this? Why are we just like, I'm not saying that people aren't. Like, I'm not saying that the people that are going out, that the families and the
yeah
communities are doing it, but where's the help beyond? Where's the help on like checking things? Like,
one of the
there's
opinions
oh,
recently that came out about the five uh, rich people in the submarine thing in the Titanic
yes, on
that
Saturday.
made sense to me that I reposted that I didn't really get any kickback on, but I'm sure some people didn't like it. Was it was someone saying like that's nice and all that because they spent like millions of dollars looking for them in that wreck, like
Yes,
millions, and
yes,
those
yes.
tickets alone, like that whole
Two hundred
ordeal
and
was
fifty
like
thousand
millions of
dollars.
dollars.
Yes,
That's cool and all, but like, where are those resources when children go missing? Local children. Where
100%.
are those resources when like people in general go missing? Like, how are we
Yes,
not focusing? Like, you can spend all that for like rightfully so, I guess. Like, no, not rightfully
but
so.
what?
Like, they
But what?
spent that
But
money
what
to
can?
go down there. Why is that like a national and like global problem? Like,
This is where I don't
but our
understand,
local
and it's like
children are just like, like
forget them.
it just. I don't know.
Well, and the thing is that the companies that do that and build those
Yeah,
things and put people on that, and the families that are going there, no offense, they all are very wealthy.
yeah.
So it's like I get that. Yeah,
I
we
saw an
want to put
interview with
resources, but
a
why not
wife
for
and
the other
mother of
kids?
the there's a husband and the son on the
Yeah.
ocean gate, and she just looked so like there was something so sus about that video to me. She just looked so like not like you just lost your husband and son. Like it was
Like,
just
are you
really
still so in shock,
cold and
or
like
yeah, was
that's what I
this
was thinking. I'm like, she has to be in shock.
premeditated?
Like this is like not how I wouldn't be able to do an interview that
No.
like a day or two
Nope.
after. I'm
Nope.
not
Go
you're not
fuck
getting an interview
yourself.
from me.
No.
But
No.
two, just how like chill and like not like I don't know. It just really bugged me. I didn't watch all of it because it was starting to bug me. So maybe she did cry towards the end. But even then, like it was just very odd, and I just
The
didn't.
whole thing has been
The
odd.
whole thing is very odd, and I didn't appreciate. Yeah, like all those resources to be putting into that. Like our country sent like some form of like I don't know if it was
A
a
lot.
plane or like an underwater something. I'm pretty sure
Something.
like Europe, there was a bunch of countries that sent like a bunch of like drones and like underwater like vehicles to go like look for this shit. And it's like,
But we
what?
can't find missing children in
But we
Canada.
have like serious like human trafficking, missing children, like missing people issues. Like
And we don't
how
care
is
about
that
that.
balance? Like where's the balance? Like sorry, like
There
I guess
isn't.
like you can search for those people, but you better be certain you're searching for yeah every freaking child that goes missing, and you're expending
Yes.
every resource we have to make sure we find them. Like you can find
Yes.
like people in the like didn't they like find Obama in the desert with like some super fucking fucked up technology,
I've
and now
heard
you're gonna
that,
tell me
but
you can't find like the creepy pedophiles or like where these children are or like every like
yes.
give me a break. Like
And the
there's
and the one
resources and
argument
there's shit like to like I don't know. I don't know.
And the other
Bugs
argument
me.
is that these individuals chose to go there. These children don't get choose to be trafficked or missing, right? So I understand, and I'm not saying every life isn't
Yeah.
precious, and I'm not saying that they didn't deserve these resources. What I'm saying is like, what's the line then? So is it how much money you have? Is it how
Right?
extreme it is?
I
How, like,
remember when I
where
was
is the
all
level
those
of
shows
help
you
that we get?
watched of kids getting kidnapped when you're younger, like those crime
Hmm.
shows or like those unsolved mystery shows where like kids are
Yes.
getting like snagged off like the side of the road or like I just the fear that must be in some of these kids and to think that some people don't consider that to be like important at all and like these
Yes.
children are just like taken out of their life out of their world and like put into like truck there's actually a really okay this is the perfect what's it called again now I'm gonna completely brain fart on myself and embarrass myself it's
It's
that new
okay. I do
movie
it on a
coming out
daily
that by
basis.
Angel Studios where they're talking about
Oh,
trafficking that actor
freedom of speech, or no,
no,
The
see,
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of
The
Freedom.
Sound of
Thank you.
Freedom.
All
And
I
that's
can hear is
by
freedom. Jim,
Mel
I can't
Gibson.
say. I can't. No, it's by Jim something. I
Oh,
can't say his last name. It's like a CZ something. It's a
oh,
he.
I thought
I've
this was a
seen.
Mel Gibson
I
one.
don't remember what he's in, but he's a very familiar face. He's an actor. He's in a movie that Nick likes, and I can't place him for the life of me. But I do recognize him, and it looks like an incredible movie. And Mel Gibson
Yes.
endorsed it on
Oh, endorsed it. That's
something.
what it
Yeah,
was.
that was him endorsing it, but it looks so good. And I shared it the other day on Instagram saying like it's going to be a hard watch. And because
Yes.
they go deep into adrenochrome
Adrenochrome. Yep.
and they go into like the reasons behind a lot of the trafficking. Not all
Yep.
trafficking
Nope.
results in really weird, creepy shit
Shit.
that we talk about, but
It does
it
though.
does,
At some
and
points.
they're into it, and they're gonna call it out, and they're onto it, and figuring stuff out, and
Good.
it's a good thing because I feel like the more you shine the light on it, the less darkness there is, and eventually it'll all be exposed, and it'll be like easier to clean up that way because, yeah, it is truly disgusting and shocking
Hmm.
what you will learn going down some of these like internet pathways like the
Yes.
amount of missing people in our country is a lot but
Astronomical.
seriously nothing compared to some of the others. There was like
Yes.
460,000 kids go missing in the United States a year. I saw
Yep.
another one, it was like there's like a couple 100,000 kids go missing from there's like the amount of countries on the list was just where are they going? How are these children just coming up nowhere? Sometimes yeah they do get found unfortunately and very very unfortunately like unalived and just not
Yes.
with us anymore, and God
Yes.
rest all those poor little babies. But
Yes.
where are the ones that are just nowhere to be found? You have
Yep.
no evidence of like death, you have no
Anything?
evidence in anything, no
Anything?
answers. Like that shit just drives me nuts. Like
Yes. And it also
That
scares
there's
me too
parents
for,
out there that just don't know what happened to their fucking baby. Like,
yes. And then the people that are supposed to be protecting you aren't. And and that kind
yeah.
of worries me too. Like when
You
they're
hear about
when
that a
these
lot too. Police not cooperating, people not really helping,
yeah,
organizations like
or have
kind of
time or the resources to
don't
help a
have
one individual
what they
family.
can.
Like
Yeah,
exactly. And I just it's fucked up, and it's fucked up that sometimes those uh places that are put in to help, like not Amber
yeah.
Alert, but there was a Clinton Foundation or whatever that went down to, like we talked about this thing before.
Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, where they, it was one of the girls, she was actually going down and saying that she was going to be adopting this family and all these kids, but she was actually stealing them, and the family didn't know from the third world country that she was taking. I think it was the
Yeah.
Clintons. And she actually got arrested for it, and I don't know if it was through, not Amber Alert, but something like that, something close to that.
Well, they were
Another
saying that
kid.
about Madonna. We've talked about that
Yes.
before, where Madonna had promised the families of her children that she was going to give them a good
Turn them.
life, give them education, give them like a great like start and upbringing and like future, like like
Yeah.
just education and everything, and then they will be returned. Both families said they were under that impression separately,
Yes.
and they just are not returned.
No,
They
that
were
just didn't happen.
almost like adopted under false pretenses. When they thought
Yes.
they were going to get it back, they actually signed the full adoption paper, and it was just like
Yes.
screwed, which is
Yes. It's
like
another form of trafficking,
that.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's forced adoption when you don't know that that is forced
Or
adoption,
you
right?
see
You think
that, what was that picture of the all those babies coming off the Playboy Bunny um airplane, that big
no, I
the
don't remember that.
remember Playboy, they what was that story, it's gonna drive me nuts. Playboy had helped evacuate babies from somewhere, and there's a photo I can see in my head, a famous photo of like the girls carrying these babies off of this huge like Playboy jumbo jet type thing. Like it very reminded me of like Austin Powers type jumbo jet. But here, I'm gonna Google it quick.
Kind of struggle when you know that Hugh Hefner learned to shit off Kinsey, and like where did
And
those
why
babies
is he
go?
helping? Yeah,
Hopefully those babies went to the right people, because y'all Kinsey and Money, they definitely weren't good individuals, and that is definitely the people that Hugh Hefner kept, and those are definitely fucking disgusting perverted pedophile type people. So
right. So you like you it, it seems like they're doing something very sweet.
yes,
But yeah,
that's what
Playboy
I
Bunnies
mean.
helped Vietnam War evacuation right here.
I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Okay, in 1975, the collapse of the southern Vietnamese government looming, the United States prepared for withdrawal. President Ford announced that the United States would lead an operation to evacuate orphans from Saigon in what became known as Operation Baby Lift. Another operation.
Jesus
Operation
fuck.
Baby Lift. Infants and young children were brought to new adoptive families in the States. And they were saying, I saw something saying that some of them were just taken from families and brought over here for adoption, like like forcefully. Like
That's what I'm
your
saying.
children were just taken from you. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
it was
I
like
feel
almost
like
like
that's
prisoners
happening.
of war. Like they got taken
Yes.
from their families and brought here for their rich
Mm-hmm.
friends to adopt or to
Mm-hmm.
God
Or
knows what
whatever.
else to do when you
Some sort of savior
see
complex.
what
Who
we
knows what
see.
you're doing with
It's
that? Yeah.
just it's crazy.
That's fucking, and that's what I mean, guys. Like the reason why we talk about this, because it's not just in movies. It's not just that one random person that knows somebody that's actually still gone missing. It's right in your hometowns. Like that is a
Hell,
lot of people
there's
in your area.
a lot of stuff I've seen coming out recently and that I feel like will come out recently about CPS
Yes.
not being what we think
100%.
it is. Look into
100%.
that if you want to
Yep.
be like mortified and like horrified at what our systems have become.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's everywhere. It's where you least expect it. It honestly, as a mother now, I hate to be that person to say that, but like as a mother now, it honestly like it can really like drive you mentally insane thinking
Mm-hmm.
about all the ways that your child is like
In danger.
susceptible to something fucked up happening. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's
Yes.
crazy.
And I
Let
think the
alone when
biggest
she's in
ways,
your care, when she's
yeah.
like if when she's at day home, I like totally love my day home provider. She's the greatest thing ever. But just her being away from me, honestly, could bring
Yes.
me to like the
Your
most
knees.
anxiety I've ever felt in my life. Yeah, like it's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
The amount
Absolutely.
of dangers out there, let alone creeps trying to like steal her or like yeah, like sorry.
And thing is, like, it all goes to like mental health is not being helped at all, and drug addiction and all that is not being helped at all, and people are just pushed on medicine, losing their jobs, like not all, but
They're
then they get
easier
into these really
swayed to
bad
do
lifestyles.
stupid and crazy things to pay off debts or to
Exactly.
get their next high. But it's not always like that either, though. It's
Nope.
upstanding people that are doing this on the
100%.
side, and like really like screwed up organizations that you think you're being super helpful that are backdoor dealing in like people
Hmm. Well, just
is
like
a nice way
I
to
think
say it. But
I think Planned Parenthood was my first like, whoa,
God,
this is not standing for
that
what
was one
I
of my
originally got
first.
this,
Yeah,
right? And they're like, okay, hold on a second. So yeah, it's again not trying to fear anyone. We said in season 6 will be a little bit, but it's because I didn't expect this to happen to someone a couple years older than me in a town that I grew up in, very small
yeah,
town, right? But it does. And the news won't talk about it and people won't talk about it. And I want to know why. Like, why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't this shit always on the news and repeated? Why doesn't this get space to be talked about? And like this other one and another one, guys, I've asked a few people before and they have not responded to me about coming on and talking about the next topic because again, I don't want to speak on something that I don't know anything about, even despite my heritage. But I do, again, want to bring acknowledgement to it and bring it to the show. And if someone that's listening
yeah,
wants to come on and share their
absolutely.
knowledge of this, we are so open. But like I said, I've asked a few times to some people that I felt safe that could possibly speak to me on the missing and murdered Indigenous women. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, I haven't been able to get in touch with anybody that would be willing to come on the show for
it's a
whatever
hard
reason.
topic.
It's a hard topic, but again, we want to bring awareness to it because how do we not like? But again, not
It's
speaking as if
huge
we
in our
understand
country. It's
exactly
huge.
what it fully means to go through this, so we're not speaking in any other way of just again getting it on the table, sparking thought to go and look
Yeah.
through the experts to to know about this. But yeah, maybe Hales will just go through one on one. I'll start the first point, and so
Okay.
thanks Dee for your notes for tonight. So she's left us with notes about the Highway of Tears. So the Highway of Tears is a 719-kilometer corridor of Highway 16 between Prince George and Prince Rupert in British Columbia, Canada, which has been the locations of crimes against many missing and murdered Indigenous women. That's also MMIW. When you guys see that, just if you want to know what that acronym is, beginning in 1970. So it's a
It's
long, long, long
crazy.
time, guys. Long fucking time. That was named this as there's a disproportionately high number of Indigenous women on the list of victims.
And it's just like I'm trying to picture in my head. So Prince George and Prince Rupert.
So I feel like
Okay.
that's like northern BC. I want to say, is it
It it's more
north
north than you are for
northwest?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, more
Okay.
north than me.
Well, next is proposed explanations for the year-long endurance of the crimes and the limited progress in identifying culprits include poverty, drug abuse, widespread domestic violence, disconnection with traditional culture, and disruption of the family unit through the foster care system and Canadian Indian residential school system. Poverty, in particular, leads to low rates of car ownership and mobility. Thus, hitchhiking is often the only way for many to travel vast distances, which is shitty. Like, are you kidding
It is
me?
very shitty. Like, fuck off with that.
Like, yeah, having to travel out to go see family or go to work, school, or seek medical treatment. Another factor leading to abductions and murders is that the area is largely isolated and remote, with soft soil in many areas and carnivorous scavengers to carry away human remains. As these factors precipitate violent attacks, as perpetrators feel a sense of impunity, privacy, and the ability to easily carry out their crimes and hide evidence, which is true. Like some of the remote
Hmm.
areas, especially BC and like on the Alberta
Yes.
side in like the mountain area and like
Hmm.
Rockies, there's a lot. Like we could do episodes beyond episodes on stuff that has happened in there because it's true.
Yes.
It's remote. You go into the bush, there's bears, large bears that will love to
Animals.
eat. Like there's wolves, there's
Yes.
coyotes, there's
Yes.
badgers, there's
Yeah.
like you name
There's
it.
massive
There's
wildlife in
I'm
there.
pretty sure,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's just crazy. So that
But
is
again, they find shit. They find shit. They spend the resources. So again, like totally, totally, yep. All these,
yeah.
like, sure. But again, why are we sending money across to other countries when people and why isn't
Like
the money
that
being
should be
fixed for
allocated.
shit
Like
like this?
if we had billions, like where did they pull that from is what I want to know.
Where?
Because like if we've had that sitting somewhere or we've had those like zeros and ones digitally just hanging around, why is that not being spent on things that are local? Like, I can respect helping other countries, and I'm all for helping people when they're
Yes.
down. Like, I fully
Yes.
get that, and I'm fully,
But they're
fully
down in
for
our
that.
own country.
But we cannot help people when we are, like, chopped off at the knees in our own country, kind of struggling, kind of
Yes.
just not doing so great. There's a lot of shit we
Yes.
need to help out, and we're just, like,
Fuck it.
throwing it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Here,
sorry,
Ukraine, here,
no.
Pride Month, here, this, here's that.
We need
Excuse
to
me.
put
We
our
don't have
oxygen mask on first, okay? We
yes,
need to
yeah.
we need to better ourselves first, and then we can oxygen mask everyone else that is at our door
Yes.
knocking.
Yes.
Like,
And
my
to my
god.
opinion, why aren't we helping those with these low poverty rates that this is happening? This is happening since 1970, y'all.
It's
This
funny
isn't a
that it
secret.
says, yeah, it's poverty. Like,
Then
look
help
into it.
them.
It is very much a reason why. Like,
Yes.
it is all created to be that way. But yeah, like,
100%.
we have all that money to send away, but we have the poor everywhere. Do you think if the governments really wanted to eradicate the homeless and the poverty and, like, all the, like, it would happen?
I'm
But
sure
that's
there's
just
better
not,
ways.
that's not the
There's better
way.
ways. And it just what blows my mind is that with again, all due respect to anybody that is in the LGBT, I get that. But y'all had a month to celebrate your sexuality feelings
Yeah,
while there's women and those suffering on a mass scale, but even just this specific, the foster care system, all of these things, the domestic violence, the drug abuse, the
yeah.
being pulled away from their traditional culture. This is stuff that needs to be fixed and looked into, not your feelings about being affirmed of who you're
I
sleeping with.
find
I'm
it
sorry, you can
wild
hate me all you want, but fuck that.
that it's the
It
same
doesn't
month
line up to me.
as mental health, like, why those the three, because it's
Interesting.
men's mental health, it's the indigenous month, and it's
Mhm.
also pride month. Why
Yes,
those three are sharing a month is beyond me. I
I have
love,
no idea.
like, I can, like, there's just, like, pride to me is not linked to it, like, is maybe the whole Stonewall thing happened in June, I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure.
However, like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it overshadows two
It does.
huge
Important topics as well.
topics. Like, why the
Yes.
hell can you not take, like, fucking
A week?
a week in August or a week in
Yes.
September or something? Like,
Or share the stage.
I don't know. Like, it just, it frustrates me because I feel like the indigenous thing really doesn't get talked about enough. It really
Never.
doesn't, and it should, because it happens to, like, obviously everyone across the country, but very specifically their community, it seems to be, like, oddly prominent, and an
Mhm.
issue that they're fucking dealing with, and an issue that they are reporting and they are talking about and they are asking questions about, that they're getting nothing back on.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
get
And it's
completely
all,
ignored and, like, brushed
yes,
under the freaking
gaslit.
carpet and gaslit,
Hmm.
and, like,
Hmm.
that makes it extra suspicious because of the things we know and, like, the people involved, like the higher ups that seem to be involved in a lot of these, like, screwed up, like, pedo
Situations.
rings and, like, creepy
Yes.
stuff like that. So
Yes.
yeah, like, who is involved that is, like, facilitating or doing, like,
Preventing
turning a blind eye to these, like, kidnappings or something. Like, there's
and
something going
communities
on,
suffering.
because it is
Yeah,
just very
I agree.
wrong and, like, odd that they are getting completely ignored to me. I think that's
Yes.
wrong on
Like
every level of wrong.
yeah, it's not that you just don't know and you're so it's like you know
They're
and you're
telling
purposely
us,
ignoring
they're out
it.
here like,
So,
hey, our
yeah,
girls, our kids, our women, they're like,
are
they
going
are going
missing.
missing. Hello.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's just an echo chamber. They're not hearing nothing. Like, they're
No.
just,
No. And it's frustrating. And I understand that's why, again, guys, we want to talk about it.
yeah.
Please, if there's anybody listening that can comment more on, again, I've asked for people to come on to talk about the residential
Yeah, if
schools,
anyone
not about
wants to come on
anybody,
with details and specifics, bring it
please,
on,
because
please.
we think that you should. But again, and it struggles, even though I have indigenous background. Obviously, I present like look like a white woman, so I always feel like afraid and definitely don't want to speak over things that are not, my this generation
Experience.
that I know of in my experience, but I also feel
Yeah.
like as doing a disservice by not speaking about it as well, right?
Yeah.
Because there's still more in these here. So according to the RCMP Project EPANA, hopefully I said that right, the number of victims is fewer than 18, while Aboriginal organizations estimate that the number of missing and murdered women is higher than 80.
Yeah.
80 in that area, in that small like not small,
Yeah.
like 719 kilometers isn't small, but in that section, in that corridor, one space, they're saying roughly 80. And why is there a project by the RCMP only saying 18, but the Aboriginal organizations are saying 80? There's a
That's what I'm saying.
discrepancy
Like
in your
they're
reporting
picking and
there.
choosing, or there's
Y'all need to figure
something,
that out.
or it's like the 1,500 missing people, and those ones get at the bottom of the barrel, or they just get lost in the
Yes.
shuffle, which is even
Yes.
worse. Because
It
like
is. It's fucking stupid.
every single one of those cases should be looked at. I
Yeah.
know it's going to take forever, but that's when you start hiring people. Like a
Absolutely. Where's the
special unit, a
resources?
special case that is
Yes.
specific to missing people and missing children, and you
In this
dedicate nothing
area.
but your freaking life and all day, every day to it. And then you've
Yes.
got cops that do regular stuff. And I'm sure they
Yes.
probably already have a task unit like that. But knowing our government, it's run like an absolute monkey cage.
Or a joke. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah. It's not very helpful.
yeah, and the next point is no surprise. It's a lot of young girls. So like that's like we said, it's an easy 3/4 to a quarter split when I was looking through it. At least the stuff I was seeing. Um, yeah, I can see that little girls
It's
are
just it's
a
so
target of a lot.
yes, yes. And yeah, like Danielle says here, it started in the damn 70s. So we're in 2023, you guys. This is 53
Yeah,
years of this stuff being somewhat like the fact that
being brought
they
to our
had this,
knowledge.
yes, brought to our knowledge, missing and murdered indigenous women, like that acronym, that grouping that they're talking about
Yeah,
was named in 1970.
and you
53
know that
years later,
that
you
was
got nothing.
definitely the culmination of being frustrated, so it was happening for years before that, so you can probably put
100%.
that to 60 plus years
Probably,
for sure.
yeah, probably, definitely, if not more
100,
than that.
yeah, like
Hundreds.
we're not naive to think that like this is new.
No,
It's
no, it's
just that
just
when
being
it
brought
came to light,
ahead more.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
That's just
which
so
is
sad.
disgusting. And yeah,
I don't
some of
like
the
it when it
women were eventually found dead in many forms of death, a lot of naked, might I add, as well. Yeah, I can't imagine Danielle going through that. Like that's a thing, is going through
no.
like when I watch, or when, especially when we watch the younger like when I was younger, the America's Most Wanted, and like there was another one
Hmm.
that just like the stories and the like descriptions of what happened that they gave were like always super creepy to me, and they
Yes.
made them really well because they really like put you there. And like I have a really weird, or very strong, not weird, very strong empathy and sympathy. Like I am very, like I can cry watching things because I just can feel what these people, like
Feel
I
the
just have it
energy.
very
Yeah.
strong, and it like stresses me
Yes.
out because watching some of those things, like the fear, and like just like it's a small town, and I'm like I'm immediately like ugh. Like
Oh no. Yeah.
it
Like
just
you're right. It's scary.
they get to me
Yes.
so hard. So
Mhm.
when, I don't know, like it, like some of the photos they would show in some of those shows of like found naked in a ditch, and it's just like
Yes.
what a, like what a disrespectful way to put someone
Yes.
out of this world in. Like it just
And how
always
can
used
you?
to frustrate me, like the
Yes.
disrespect of some of these photos. These people just like that's their like that was their final moment. And it
Yeah.
used to bug me a lot, a
Yes.
lot, a
It's
lot, a
yes. I
lot.
agree. I don't know how, and I think obviously that's what makes us good people is having that ability to
Yeah,
look and say, this can hurt somebody, and I'm not going to do that because I have that feeling, and it just like
we
you said, it
have the
blows your
proper
mind that
compass. We have a very strong
yes.
proper
And
compass,
I'm not
right? Where
giving
some
anybody
people
any
don't
excuse. Yeah, but they
have
just
that.
don't. They actually don't. And you're like, oh, sorry. I thought we were all fucking built with this. Where you're like, I'm not going to stab a person because that's going to kill them and hurt them. Like, yeah, in the moment, you're like,
Yeah,
fucking drive faster. I'm going to stab you. But you don't actually mean it. And I totally agree. Like, it's just what part in someone's lives do they get to do this to another human being? Like,
it does
what,
happen, but that's
where
the
did
thing.
things go wrong? And it happens too much, though. So, like,
We need to
again,
find out the
the root
core of it.
cause.
Yeah,
And like again, we'll go back to we have all this Western medicine, we have all this therapy, we have all these modalities in the world, and this shit is still happening, if not on a higher scale. So sorry,
yeah.
sis, whatever we're doing,
Something's
it
going
ain't
wrong.
right. We
Yeah,
gotta do something different. Bring
there's a
something new to
chink
the
in the
fucking
chain
table.
here.
There is absolutely like the fuck. So one thing this bothers me, and we've heard this a lot too. And again, I'm not like a cancel or defund the police. I'm saying like let's have some accountability and some like more like resources into the right ways, because
Yeah,
this next part is a lot of cases RCMP are not even taking seriously or even destroying evidence like the clothes of the victim because it wasn't relevant to the case. Apparently, one of the many cases. So we'll say that
yeah.
allegedly, but this we hear this theme all the time.
See,
That
like
they
they're
abuse their
just
power.
ignoring, or they're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's too much paperwork, or
Why?
they don't have
Who are
enough to
they
do
tied
anything with
to?
it, so it's the paperwork's useless anyways because it's not going to go anywhere, or who it's
Yes.
tied to, or yeah, like a lot of the dirty cops get involved and like something goes
Hmm.
sideways and shit happens, or
They get paid
they
off.
find like, yeah, somebody of a high up there of who has cops in the pocket type thing. Like that shit
Yes.
is in movies, but that's because it happens in real life. Like it's
Yes.
not always as
100%.
innocent as just goes missing, something happens, an accident,
No.
slips on ice, knocks their head, falls into water type thing.
Yes.
Like it's just it's very rarely that it's one of those like complete circumstantial, like coincidental, like accidents happen kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Um,
If you want to do the last one,
yeah,
I've got the
I
Wikipedia
know
pulled up
Wiki
here.
isn't the most reliable normally, but I recommend going to look at every woman and their story on here because holy fuck, man, she says. Um,
So I pulled up the list and I'm just going to go through age here.
here, let me see. I'll open it too.
17, 18, 14, 21, 31, 36, 13, 15, 26, 24, 15, 18,
Yeah, like,
0. What does 0 mean?
was it a baby? Someone was pregnant?
I think it might have been,
21, 31, 36. Like, this is
yeah.
insane.
Some of them it says homicide, suicide, homicide. Yeah, guys, and it's like full on stories of the circumstance, any development. So again, so you're gonna want to go to Highway of Tears on Wikipedia. That's kind of what we just um, shared, but this is an index of everyone. Again, some of them are still missing. Some of them are known homicide, but some are still left blank. And for the most part, like it is like totally a bunch of women all from around that area: Prince George,
It's
Burns Lake,
ridiculous.
Thornhill, Terrace, a lot of Prince George, Prince Rupert. So it's again, guys, like unfortunately, people are going to be psycho no matter what you do. You're never going to be able to fully get away from it,
Yeah.
but at
We need
least
to
at
slowly
least
start chipping
we
away
need
at
to
these
slowly start
lists
chipping
because
away that too.
that's
Yes, and
gnarly.
yes, and like how can we help? How, and I'm not saying I know anything, and I'm
It's
not
a
saying I
mental
fix
health
anything,
thing. We
but
need to try and, yeah,
well,
remedy
even just for the
this.
people that are going on trips, instead of like hitchhiking, can we find some sort of bus or charter or something
I'm
that's safe for
surprised
these
there's
women
not
to
more,
travel back
like,
and forth? You
we
know what
know
I
that
mean?
there
Like,
are them, but I'm surprised there's not, like, more that specifically do those, like, the roads and, like, the windy ones and, like,
yes,
the big, like, you know there are, for sure, but, like,
yes.
you think there would be more.
Yeah, especially knowing that that's a place. But again, that's what
Like,
I
that
understand.
makes
I understand why
stops
people get
even,
upset.
like, frequent
Yes.
stops, like, there
Hmm.
would, like, I don't know.
Yes. Or something like, I don't know. There's got to be a better solution than what we're doing because this is unacceptable. And it's unacceptable that our government is sending money all over the place. And I feel like, yes, I'm going to be more positive in season 6. Okay.
But the
But
allocation of money here is just, like,
we
very
need to talk
painfully
about
obvious and
exactly.
disgusting.
And it is. And so, again, you're going to send all this money to different places
I want to
and
see
give people
Trudeau's
for sexual
outrage
rights.
last longer
Where's the outrage?
than the month
One
that
day.
it's allocated
Yes. For
on
his
where we
rage.
all wear that orange t-shirt. Like, yeah, I
Yes.
want that
Do
rage
something
to
about it.
be like follow through with
Yes.
that. Like,
Yes. Absolutely.
actually give a shit. Don't just say you
Listen
give
to
a
them.
shit. Put action
Yes.
behind that and give a shit
Yes.
and do something
Yes.
about it. But
Yes.
no,
Because
that's not
those
what he
billion
does.
dollars that you could have taken, maybe at least one
Yeah.
billion can maybe go to some of these families to help find or support or these communities that are
Yeah.
lacking these things. Like I don't quite understand.
Like
And
the
maybe I'm
water
missing
he
something,
promised
but
at the beginning of his election that I'm pretty sure we're still waiting on.
like
And there's a
how
lot of factors to that, and I can understand how people can come at us like, oh, there's
on
like,
different angles, of course.
yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't managed well,
And
regardless of
again,
what the
it's
situation
not
is.
even what the situation is. It's proof that he's a fucking liar. That
Yeah,
he says whatever he needs to say to
he
get
is
what you want.
just like every other politician, where he tells you what you
Yes.
want to hear and he promises what you want, and then doesn't follow through with half of what he says, even a third of what he says. Like,
Yes, and I think he grasped the most vulnerable people that really, really are looking for a savior and someone to
look,
come in, and
he's
he
bringing
says these
immigrants
things,
in
and
for that reason. He's human
exactly,
trafficking people in to vote for
yes,
him, so he is
yes,
assuredly to get back in, and so help me God that happens.
yes, absolutely. And like again, we've said this before. We're all for people coming here. This is what built this
Yeah,
country. This is all the different cultures
but
are
but
100%
what
welcome
he's
here. But
partaking in
what
is a
he's
form of
doing
human trafficking.
exactly, and he's not setting these individuals up for success,
And if you
and he's
seriously
making it
think
so hard.
it's willing, like it's a willing participation to an
Yes.
extent. A
Yes.
lot of these people
100%.
don't have a fucking choice.
No. And then they're here
They're
and it's too late. What are you going to do?
hoping to God, oh my God, Canada, yes, I'm fucking in. My country
Yes.
is forever in
Terrible.
like disrepair and like
Yeah. Dismay.
upside down. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
what a
And then you get
fucking
here, you're like,
shitty person for him. And then
whoops.
I wonder if they even like they get him here, they give him what, $50 and a fucking pat on the ass, and here you go,
And
giver.
but the
Like,
thing that's shitty is that they'll discredit all of the education that they came with. They'll discredit all of the hard work they came with. They'll discredit all of their credit scores, all of those things. So it's like you come here and guess what, motherfucker, you
start from
start from scratch.
scratch.
That's not helpful. Like I'm not saying that I know the solution. I'm just saying like fuck
Yeah.
him. Fuck the
I don't
federal
know.
government. I'm
He
done
is
with this
just,
shit.
yeah, we're
Do better for missing people.
I'm
Do
excited to
better.
dive into some more positive stuff. I hate to say,
Yes.
because this
I
dark
know.
stuff, like especially
It
this and like
sucks.
how it's like in our country, and it just like highlights further how like
Dark.
I
Yeah, it's corrupt.
I'm not very much into politics. It used to really bug me and I wasn't in it at all. Now that
Me
I'm
too.
like pretty much forced into it over the last few years, it's definitely like opened my eyes to a lot. It just like
Hmm.
really bums me out that like I don't know if like our government structure is the way to go, and I don't know how long it's going to take for us to figure out what the proper way to do this is, but
Structures.
like
Yeah.
we need to find a way where if we're going to elect people and if we're going to put people in charge of things, if we're going to put people at heads of or like at high positions the way they are, we have to be able to
Yes.
trust that they're going to do things for the better of everyone and not just
Hmm.
for to
Certain
line their
agendas.
pockets with money, to line
Yeah.
their friends' pockets with money, or whatever the hell the case is. Like,
Hmm.
I just it it can really overwhelm you with like the frustration of like there's really nothing at our level. B,
No,
you know this
except for
too,
we can
that we
see.
can
Yeah,
do. Like there's really
all we can do
nothing.
is talk. All we can
There's
do
we
is
can
talk
spread
and
the
keep trying.
message, make sure that people realize and start like as much as like people like to say this about like police and everyone else, start defunding big multinational corporations.
Hmm.
Start defunding all the big huge heavy hitters that just want you dumb and stupid and like weak and like not your full optimal self, when
Hmm.
you could be supporting your local people, your local friends. You help your community, keep an eye out for children where this wouldn't be
Hmm.
fucking happening because people are
Yes.
decent and good hearted and don't want to
Yes.
take children for fucking nefarious
No.
activities. Like give me a fucking
Agreed.
break. Like
Agreed.
we have gone so left as a society that, yeah,
Hmm.
like this thing just really opened up a lot for me. Like, it's just crazy how many missing people, children or not, there are in the world and our country. And it's just
Yeah.
like,
Where are they?
I don't know, it gets you sometimes. And I just end up sitting there just like staring into like, what the fuck? Like,
Yes, I know
what,
what we can
like,
do
that's
next
what
time.
the actual fuck.
Next time, what we'll do is maybe we'll make sure that if we do have a heavy topic, that we will come with some positive wins, like some ones that
For
were found,
sure.
and like that the winning ones,
If
so
we,
that show
yeah,
that
when
there
we
are
do this
balance. There
again,
are
we're gonna do like,
yes,
yeah,
because there's
some
heroes out there. There's heroes
happy
that reunite
stories.
their yeah,
For
they
sure.
reunite their there's tons of what's that our hero or whatever.
But it's
There's
still,
tons
it's
of
definitely,
more of the negative for sure. So we'll definitely share both. But
we'll
again, we just want to say
balance.
that because we don't want, and again, not saying that any of these victims could have prevented that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is like, maybe if you are
It's
aware, like for me,
knowledge.
my
Yeah.
biggest thing is like, get your fucking eyes off of your phone when you're traveling from building to your car. You have no reason to be on your phone.
Yeah.
You do not need to look at Instagram as you're walking. Put it away and look at your surroundings
Hell,
because
getting
what
hit
if
by
in
a
that
vehicle
second
crossing the
getting
street, the
hit by a
amount of people
vehicle
that I've almost like run into
creamed?
and like, yeah, like
Yes.
it gets, we're very much, it's not just driving distracted, it is just living
Yes.
distracted. We
Living
are just
distracted.
forever like needing something to occupy us, and it's really
Yes.
gross because I agree with you.
Yes.
I'm very much like, it can wait, they can
Yeah.
wait, like just put it
Yes.
away, please. Like
Because we
in
can
your
instantly do
car
it
when you're
doesn't mean we
out and
can.
about, like you're missing
Yeah.
moments, you're not engaging with like the world around you, and like you're missing
Hmm.
out on everything, and it's huge. So it's
Yes.
situational awareness. Like I can't say it
Yes.
enough. Situational
For
awareness is
safety in
so
all
important.
ways. Yes, in
Just
all
for
ways. And that's just for your
everything.
mental health too, right? Like walk around and look at the birds, look at the people, smile.
Breathe in the
Like
fresh
smile at other
air,
people,
wave
breathe
at
the fresh
people,
air.
smile, be that weird
Listen.
fucking neighbor that waves at
Yes.
everyone when they're driving. Like
Exactly.
just
Yes, be that light in
take in your
people's light.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And
instant
keep an eye on people. Like that's another thing.
yeah.
Like be
You
proud of the
see
fact that
something,
you
do
can keep an
something.
eye on people and you can help
Yes.
people, and like maybe you notice a little old lady struggling in the parking lot with her groceries, you can go and help her, like stupid shit like that. Like it also brings
It's
a
good
lot of good,
stuff.
but it's just good to be aware of things, because then yeah,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
can see the little old lady turning to do something and this kid stealing a bag of groceries or some stupid shit like
Yes.
that too. Like it's
Or
not all
knowing
nefarious and dark and scary, but like just yeah, eyes
But
peeled.
knowing stuff that look at your vehicle. I did not think
Yeah,
that people could mess with your vehicle. So that
those
air tag thing
Apple
that we talked
tags.
about, right?
Yeah,
The Apple tags, right? And there's somebody right after we recorded this episode, you guys, just talking about air tags that was in Grand Prairie that said, "Hey, I'm getting this warning about an air tag in my car,
being
and I
like
don't know
near me and like wanting
near
to like
me."
pair with my device.
And
Yeah,
immediately everyone's like, go to the fucking police, go to the fucking police. I don't know what they ended it. But again, if we didn't talk about that, not saying this situation, but if we don't talk about it,
it's
I would
things
never
to
know
be
that.
aware
And now I
about.
know that. And like even this, so another one that I've heard is like, so say if someone's left like money in
Yeah.
your windshield, do not touch it with your hands. Don't touch anything that's left
If you
because what
find
happens is they put,
napkins or tissue
yes,
in your door
drugs.
handles, it's the
Yes,
same
don't
thing.
touch it.
Don't touch it. If you have to, like gloved or like sweatered hand,
Sweatered. Yep.
anything, like
Yep. Or
very
get in a
like
different door.
elbow, do
Get in a
something.
different door.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's a law. I saw this one where like mothers with children, do not put your kids in your car with your back towards like an open parking lot because you're vulnerable to someone coming up behind you. There's
Yes.
like tons of them. Like make sure like get in the different, like if you see a weird suspicious vehicle sitting next to you, get in the opposite side of your vehicle. But I'm like
Yes,
thinking, if it's
exactly.
not suspicious, this person's going to think you're on drugs because you're making it way more difficult than it needs to be to get into your
Better
vehicle. But
safe than
like,
sorry, but
but you know
still.
what I mean, like there's certain
Yes,
things that like just, and it sounds
we could be
stupid. The other
aware
day
of.
I thought of like my sister-in-law has this or had this thing that her dad got her when we were younger. She was probably like 19-ish. We were 18, 19. So yeah, she was a year older than us. But he gave her like a mini bear spray pepper spray, which I
Mm,
still think is very smart to have. I never had
very
one, and
smart.
I'm going to be giving one to Evie when she's old enough.
Yes.
And he had this keychain thing that I'm pretty sure are illegal now. And it was a cat and it had pointy ears, but it had the
Nice.
face was like, so you could grab into it. It was a self-defense keychain. So if you had to, you put your
Cool.
hand into it and it's spiky. So you hit someone and
Yeah.
it hurts, right?
Yes, yes.
And like those keychains, and I've been trying to find one that's legit and it's gonna give you like quality like tools and
Contact.
stuff, but like I
Yes.
can't find one. And but
No,
just
but
like
it's sad that we have
small
to think
things that
about
like
that,
I
but
used to walk with my keys between my fingers if I ever felt unsafe, which sounds
yes,
like
same.
drastic, but yeah, you put the heads in your knuckles and
I've
it's
done that
you
too.
hit someone with that and it hurts. It can hurt
Yes,
you
yes.
too, which is my biggest fear of like cutting my fingers up. But
Totally.
in
But in
a
that moment,
pinch when I've been walking
it'll
alone or
work.
like walking home from Dairy Queen when I was younger and stupid stuff like
Yes.
that, like
Same. Yeah.
it's just it's
You
always been
should just
something that
know.
we've had to worry about. It's been out since like To Catch a Predator and like
Yes.
America's Most Wanted. Like there's bad guys everywhere. We know that. But like
Everywhere. We know that.
it's also good to remember that like not everyone is bad and like there's a lot of good
Yes.
in the world too, but
There
it's
is.
good to be
Yes.
very much aware and to like I
Yeah.
said, put that flashlight on it, bring it to
Yes.
light, make sure that we say we
Yes.
fucking see you,
Yeah.
don't think
You're
you're
not
getting
having
away
this.
with it like with
Mm-mm.
unnoticed, we fucking see you, and make sure that
Yes.
we do something about it, because yeah, just saying you see that, I see that happening over there, but I'm
Yes.
not going to do anything about it.
But
Like there's a
I'm just
very
gonna
big difference
videotape
of,
it.
yeah, saying and
Yeah.
then action. We need the action
Yes.
behind, and it's
Yes.
hard to, like,
And
I
there's
know
courses you
some
can
people say,
take
"Oh, you're
too.
just talking about it," but at least we're saying something. I There's not very much I can do other than volunteer and do like
Yes.
my own kind of thing, but like for those who can and are privileged enough to have access to like very good resources and helping, or like you just have the resources to help on a bigger scale, like I implore you to, because
Yes. And there's courses you can take, right? There's courses that you can
oh
just as
yeah, it's
individuals, me and
self-defense.
yeah, well, not even that actually to learn signs of trafficking, which me and
Yeah,
Grant were talking about doing that. So
yeah,
we've talked about in the fall doing a couple courses like that because Kelowna's known for one of the big hubs as well.
yeah,
And
your
I'm
big
not saying
hub.
I would stop and do anything, but I would feel better taking that, knowing that if I seen something and
You can
even if I
alert
called it out
someone.
and it was bad, I can alert someone. I could say, hey, I seen that kid then or something, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? And just knowing the signs for yourself or for everyone else, I don't think it's
I've
a bad
always
thing.
thought of like, I've always been like stressed out thinking like you could be the person, like when they say if you saw
Hmm.
a 6-foot male in a gray hoodie driving a like a blue pedal bike, whatever. And like thinking about it, you could have been that person that saw him if you were paying attention. That was the person that like skated by you on his pedal bike as you were texting and almost hit you because he was
Yeah.
fleeing from the scene. Like if your
Yeah.
eyes are open, you have more of a chance of just noticing everything in everyday life.
Around you.
Good, bad,
Yes.
indifferent, funny, like whatever. But like I think a big takeaway that I would like of people to take from this episode is to just be more present in your
Yes.
everyday life. Be more
Yeah.
present, be more aware, use everything that's happening in front of you as entertainment as opposed to your phone, because
Yes.
like I've even considered going back to an old brick Nokia, like, or like a stinking flip phone with T9 texting, because I'm so sick of
I
just
miss
having
it.
the internet and all that access on your
Yeah.
phone. Phones should just
Yes.
be what they are, is just a way to reach
Phones.
people when you need them. Like it's
Yeah.
just turned into all encompassing. So just look up from your phone every now and then, put them in your pocket. People
Yes.
can reach you. You can get back to them in 5 or 10 minutes, but take a few minutes to
Don't
just like
stress.
be present. Just be
Yes.
in the moment, and
Yes. Anything that's on your phone
you
can
know,
wait. It can always wait because you
yeah,
know what? What if something did happen in that moment and you weren't paying attention, or you did miss see someone going by, or you didn't see that car and now you're hit, or like anyway, like
yeah.
it's just again be present and look at it this way, like you said, as being a good Samaritan. Be a good neighbor,
A
be a
good
good
community
community
member.
person,
Yeah,
a good
community
community
member.
member, knowing that like you're doing that and you want everyone else to do that for yourself and your family, then you
Yeah,
better show the
you
same
better
that
be
for other
doing it.
people
Yeah, you
too
better be doing
and
it for
be
everyone else.
present. Absolutely. And keep
Treat
your eyes out.
others
Like,
as though you want to be
yes.
treated. That golden rule
Yeah,
that we all learn. It's there for a
exactly.
reason.
And we know how annoyed we are when we're with people and they're like it's one thing when you're together and you're on your phone, but it's like if that special time and you're
Yeah,
just playing on your phone, like, that bothers people. So I think, it really does take away from us. And I think that we have to put boundaries up,
yeah.
especially if we want to be safe for ourselves. Because unfortunately, we aren't in a space anymore. There's a lot of people struggling with their mental health, their drug
Yes.
addictions. There's lots more
We need
crime.
to be a little
It's
bit
just
more
something
on
we have
our
to bear
toes.
aware of. Yeah, and it's not to scare you guys, it's so that you're prepared. So if something does happen, go take a self-defense class so that you know how to punch or get yourself out of something, like go to the gym so you feel strong so that
Yeah,
you could defend yourself, or start running. Maybe you're not wanting to lift, then learn how to run. So if you have to fucking run, you can run. Have
yeah.
those keys with you. Like, I don't, now they have all these like keys that are like this. Like, it sucks because I have one key. What am I going to fucking do with that? It's one key. Like,
Shiv,
like
shiv.
you're gonna have to get a shiv. But like it's sad that we have to think that way. And I have walked downtown Vancouver in East
Yeah.
Hastings high as fuck at like 3 a.m. and I was fine. I'm not saying that every single I've done put myself in the
And you
stupidest
couldn't pay me to
situations.
walk in a
You
certain
couldn't
part
pay me to
of
do it
downtown
now.
Edmonton at
Oh
night or
yes,
even during the day.
not anymore,
There
not
are
anymore.
certain
And I
parts of
hate to say
downtown
that, but
you couldn't pay
totally
me enough. And I hate saying
no.
that, but
But
it's
it's true.
true. Oh my
Yes.
god, it's
So
true.
just be aware, guys. And again,
Yeah.
we'll bring some more winnings because there are people that have won through this. But
Anyone,
just be
seriously, if
aware.
you have anything to add, if you have stories, if you have any
Yes, please.
information about anything, if you want to share your
Anything's
story
ready.
about someone who's missing or something that you want to bring attention to,
We're
message.
here.
It's a quick DM.
Message
And
us.
honestly,
Yeah.
the worst we're
And
going to
we're here
say
for it.
is you have to wait a
Maybe in a
few
couple
weeks
weeks.
because
Yeah, because we're
we have
both
shit to do.
yeah.
No, I'm
We're on a
kidding.
Christmas break.
We've
Fuck
got
me,
a
I'm not
few
there yet. Summer
episodes
break.
planned, but we'll work
Yes.
you in.
We'll
But
work you in. We always
yeah,
have, no matter what.
seriously.
So yeah, I agree. And especially with all the stuff with the missing women, with the whole in residential schools.
We are here
Again,
to
I've reached
be
out.
your
We're here
your
to be
speaker, your
your
microphone.
platform, your microphone, because again, we can't speak on the ways, but we know it's very important. And the reason why we haven't is because we've had nobody come forward willing to
Yeah.
be on the show about it. And again, we don't want to speak on
It's a
things.
tough topic, but
It's a tough topic, but we
we're
want it to
here
be
when you're
talked
ready
about.
type thing.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want it to be represented in the way. And again, with like Amber's story, with all that, guys, please go to Island Crime. There is a very good series. Hales, I'll send it to you
Yeah.
and I'll post it on the podcast page. Laura, thank you very much for all the work that you did. And everybody in Port Alberni that helped search for Amber, continue searching for
Yeah.
Amber and all of these missing people. Anybody that dedicates their lives to finding and restoring families together is absolutely incredible. Obviously, it's not something we can really do our resources, but just like we always do, talking about it, awareness,
Yeah.
bringing it together, bringing it into the front of your
Speaking it
understanding,
into
speaking it into, let's get
our
rid of this.
everyday type situation
Yes.
so it's not
Yes.
forgotten, right?
Yes, because if you can't talk about it again, think about these people that
Yeah.
have to live through
No
it.
matter
It's
how
not there
terrible
for
it
them.
is,
You can be
you
strong.
have to
You
you
can do it.
have to call it out. You have to
Yes.
point at it and shine that flashlight on it. I'll say
Yeah.
it again. You
So,
have to.
motherfuckers, I need a light. We're gonna get a shine. Next time we'll have it, and we'll just have like a shine.
We need red flags. We need lights. We need props.
You've been drinking tonight, man.
We're gonna have a basket next to our filming station of just props.
We're gonna have prop comedy now.
I'm going to get us red flags. I will.
Oh my god, we need those too. But
that would just be great.
That would be good. But guys, this is wrapping up our month talking kind of about, missing people wasn't really a part of the sex industry talk, but it does tie in when a lot of missing people do link to trafficking, and when we look at those age groups and we look at the individuals being trafficked or going missing, and then we're seeing these people being trafficked and living lives they're trapped in, you kind of have to know that there is a big piece that is connected in that. And I think that, again, we needed to talk about it. So then we're going into our final month. We only have 3 of these real episodes left, and we have a couple being reels. I think we're like 5 episodes away from being completely done this season.
That's
5.
So crazy.
So fucking crazy. So maybe if you have an episode suggestion, you might not be able to make it on season 5, but we're planning season 6 already.
Seriously,
we have
hit us
things
up.
already talking about. Hit us up. Follow us on all the social medias.
Absolutely.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Until we see you next time. Bye. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the show today. We truly hope that you had a good time. If you liked this episode and you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe to our channels, like our episodes, and turn on those notification bells. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Google Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Until next time, guys.